I hope your week is going well. I want to first of all chat with you about the repositioning of Moody Bible Institute and some of the implications of that. Perhaps you've heard about it, and I referenced it in the opening statement in my video. But I wanted to gather together just some thoughts that I have from a very straightforward, caring explanation that Dr. Nyquist made at a gathering of the faculty and staff yesterday on the 820 North LaSalle campus. I was able to listen online. And so the major driving force behind this repositioning stance is the significant decline in high school graduates over the last 5 years. As he said that, I thought, yes, an impact of abortion. This decline is anticipated to continue until 2030. So it's not just a short-term storm that we're in, but a long-term. And the decline is especially accented in the upper Midwest. So this is the impact it has had on Moody Chicago campus. Normally, for years and years, they've had about 1,300 applicants to come in as freshmen each year. However, in 2015, that number dropped to 1,150, about 150, about an 11% decline in 1 year. Then in 2016, there were 1,040 applicants, and in 2017, only 950. That has had major impact on all of Moody education, because when they were receiving 1,300 applicants, they would refer a certain number, maybe 200, to Spokane to continue their education. They have not been meeting their enrollment goals in Chicago. Therefore, nobody has been referenced to Spokane. And thus, Spokane's enrollment has dropped from 700 quite a ways down. This kind of decline is seen in most colleges and universities, so it's not just unique to Moody. But there's even a greater impact on Christian schools with the increasing secularization of our society that results in a decline of interest in obtaining a Bible and theological education, and it's further accented by a growing disdain for evangelical Christianity. Primary decisions that have been made to address the $3.2 million deficit in the financial year ending June 30th are as follows. The Spokane, Washington campus will close in May of 2018. About 10% of the faculty at the Chicago campus will not receive new teaching contracts. The Michigan Theological Seminary will exclusively offer Moody distance learning and other non-traditional class formats. There will be a general reduction in the overall staff of Moody Bible Institute. How does this impact Moody distance learning? I cannot speak specifically or authoritatively. Please remember that. But my perception is that in actuality, the Moody distance learning will expand. There's that growing interest in online education that is anticipated to continue to grow through the coming years. Obviously, it is a time to increase our prayers for wisdom and grace for the administrators and board of directors of Moody to be led by God's Spirit. We also need to pray for the people who are losing their jobs. If you have your questions, you can shoot me an email, and if I cannot answer it, I will try to figure out who might be able to answer your question and reference you to them. Obviously, there are many unanswered questions today, but I appreciate being notified early on rather than hearing it second-handed. Christianity Today published an article yesterday about this decision and some of the impacts. I will put that link in the announcement. I love the verse that Dr. Nyquist concluded the session with, Proverbs 16:3. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. God, give us grace, every one of us, in these times of transition. Now let's talk about week 4. One of you caught a typographical error, or whatever you would call that in computer language, computer as entry error. For week 2, you were to read the first 4 chapters of Chan, but the assignment said the first 5. This week, you're to read chapters 5 to 8. If you read chapter 4, which I'm sure that most of you did, chapter 5 rather, you don't need to reread it. You might want to skim it just for information. That's one of those things that happen when human beings do work. The crazy computer does what you tell it to, not what you intended it to do. Another comment I would just like to make about our previous weeks. I appreciate that there's an interesting growing evidence in the secular leadership world of the importance of servant leadership. They're finally catching on. They probably don't want to say this is the model that Jesus gave and it was so effective, but that's a reality. The second one, we are working on ministry leadership, and my goal in designing this course was not to develop theories. So there's plenty of theories out there, but my desire is that you learn character qualities that impact all of your life, home, work, neighborhood, school, and that our papers have a strong personal dynamic, not just theory. And I want you to think about that. For instance, this week our discussion board is discuss how you addressed failure to be accountable and or responsible at work or ministry. So that could be in your own life or with a peer. But it's you. And so we don't need a lot of theorization. Then you can, for your paper, you're to have a 3-page paper about accountability. Lean heavy on Dr. Chan's material as you write that article. If you have something else you want to add, okay. But be sure that you use the text courses, the resources for the course, as a major factor in your paper. And it is to implement change in the ministry that you're involved with. Now, I know a couple of you are in a process of change, and so you could do that either as a historic ministry that you are no longer involved with, or to a work situation. So again, it's how you would implement change in that context. God bless you as you wind things up for the week. I know some of you have already completed your assignment. I don't know when I'm going to get started on grading for this week, but I hope to do it soon, and I'm sorry I was so slow this past week. God bless you as you seek to walk in the ways of the Lord.